I'm getting to the Democratic Party. You know what I'm getting really pissed off about? I'm getting really ticked off at every time they open their mouth about something pertaining to y'all, they seem right. I would love to argue with Sean Hannity. How can I? Do you know what Sean Hannity used to do to me when I told him Kamala Harris had a chance? He'd laugh.
Welcome back, Warriors. It's me, Linda B. Thank you all so much for joining me here today. You know, these Democrats have finally made people who vote Democrat open up their eyes. We've got Stephen A. Smith and Van Jones and a certain Rhino. That's right. We have that today on Chat With Me, Linda B. All right, guys, we're going to talk about these Democrats complaining about the party that they say they've been voting for. Before we get into it, don't forget to like this video, comment, share, subscribe to my channel. If you have not already, hit that notification bell. And I'm going to kindly ask that you watch the video all the way to the very end. It is very educational as usual. Now, let's get into it. Now, I got to say, Stephen A. Smith has long been a complainer of the Demon Rat Party. But you know something? He says he supported Kamala Harris. Do y'all think that he voted for Trump on the DL? Let me know your thoughts, because he has had a great awakening.
We've now entered the final month of Joe Biden's presidency. And for the sake of argument, it hasn't been a good one. The Democrats lost the White House, Senate, and House in the November election. Meanwhile, this week, FBI Director Christopher Wray announced plans to resign at the end of the Biden administration as President-elect Donald Trump takes office in January. The news comes amidst a bombshell report from the Justice Department that revealed the FBI had at least 26 confidential informants on the ground when the Capitol was stormed on January 6, 2021. The report says most of the informants engaged in illegal activity during the chaos. The Justice Department says only 3 of its 26 informants present had been instructed to observe potential domestic terrorist suspects on the day of the riot. The rest of the 23 appear to have gone to the Capitol on their own accord. Upon hearing news of the report, Vice President-elect J.D. Vance posted the following on X, quote, "For those keeping score at home, this was labeled a dangerous conspiracy theory months ago," end quote. So 23 folks for the FBI were in the crowd.
Yeah, you know, at the time of this particular event, J6, I was TDS. Okay, Trump derangement syndrome. For those of you who are watching this video for the first time and you've never heard of TDS, again, it is Trump derangement syndrome, when no matter how much truth you are given about Donald Trump, that he is not a racist, that he is not a misogynist, you are so deranged that you continue to believe the lies of the left and the media, the propaganda media. And that's where I was at the time of this happening at J6 at the Capitol some years ago. And I remember seeing it, and I remember thinking, see, those folks are crazy. These people, Trump is crazy. I thought Trump is crazy. I thought everybody who voted for him was either racist or whatever. I just believed at that time, I thought the news was telling the truth, right? Then I had a friend. I had some people where I worship. They're mostly people support Donald Trump and the Republicans where I worship. And I was looking at them with the side eye. And see, that's what the devil does. He causes us to look at other believers like they're evil people. That's a way to divide the body of Christ, when the Bible wants the body of Christ to be unified, right? How good and pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. That is scripture. Now, having said that, I remember a particular man, he shall remain unnamed, but if he comes across this video, his first name begins with an A, last name begins with an M. He said, "Oh, that's Antifa, and that's the FBI." And I was like, that's crazy. That is crazy. That doesn't make any sense. Well, lo and behold, just a few years later, look, this is where we are. This is where we are. Always remember that the truth is stranger than fiction.
And we're just finding that out. Didn't hear anything about that for the election. Didn't hear anything about that when the quote-unquote insurrection was broached by Vice President Kamala Harris as the Democratic nominee, by President Biden before her, by Democrats in both the House and the Senate, as they articulated the belief that Donald Trump was a danger to democracy and using this as a profound, illuminating bullet point to make that case. And now here we are yet again finding even more evidence to Donald Trump's claims when he articulated that the process is rigged, the Democrats are this or that, they're talking about us, but look at what they do. We don't know all the details. It's a report. Justice Department comes out with this. That's not my big issue. My big issue is that I'm really, really sick and tired of every time I turn around finding something else that the Democrats have lied about or downplayed or misrepresented along the way. Where's the $1.5 billion that was given to the Democratic Party? Where is it? Where'd the money go? Why was Oprah given $2.5 million? Why was Al Sharpton's National Action Network given that much money? Before interviews, by the way. Why? I think it was $500K for the National Action Network. Why? I want to be clear. I don't have any problem with the National Action Network taking that money because they don't have a lot of money. I have more of a problem with Oprah taking $2.5 million when she's worth over $1 billion.
Huh. You know what? If Oprah really, really supported Kamala Harris, she would not have actually needed to have been paid that kind of money. And if you really look at the history of the Democrat Party, they have a tendency to fund things to promote a particular narrative. The fact that Al Sharpton is a mouthpiece for the woke left, and he has been for decades. Check the history on Al Sharpton. That's what I call him. I got a nickname for just about everybody. I got to find one for Oprah. Yeah. You know, you got to look at this. They pay people. And then, you know, they have the nerve to call Black people who are conservative sellouts. Nobody's paying me to say what I'm saying. But Al Sharpton got paid. Don't forget that. Oh, yeah. Got paid. And Oprah Winfrey, $2.5 million. I saw before a few weeks ago, I said 1 million, and I showed evidence of what looked like she was paid 2 payments of $500,000, equating to 1 million, but it turns out to be 2.5 million, and she's already worth over $1 billion. Make that make sense. Make it make sense. And Stephen A. is great in just exercising his frustration. And I hear him, and I hear you on a deeper level than you think, Stephen A.
But speaking to us as if her heart and soul was so immersed in supporting Kamala Harris. Well, then why didn't you do it for free? I'm just asking. I'm just asking these things because I think it's important. And I think that the time has arrived where we have to stop letting stuff go all the time, particularly when it comes to the left. I mean, I see Republicans like Megyn Kelly or Officer Tatum or Candace Owens or, you know, the Sean Hannitys of the world. You know what I'm getting tired of? You know what I'm getting to the Democratic Party? You know what I'm getting really pissed off about? I'm getting really ticked off at every time they open their mouth about something pertaining to y'all, they seem right. I would love to argue with Sean Hannity. How can I? Do you know what Sean Hannity used to do to me when I told him Kamala Harris had a chance? He'd laugh. Like literally, genuinely giggle. He'd go on TV and put on his straight face to y'all. You got to be concerned. This election could go either way. He laughed. He wasn't concerned about her.
You know, the thing about it is when the Democrats use ethnicity and gender as a means to get votes, and when you don't go along with their woke agenda, you know, they want to play the race card, the gender card. They do that a lot. They always do that. You notice that. And so if you don't want to vote for their candidate, they bully people by saying, you're a bigot, you're a misogynist. That's how they get their votes, because some people will go along with it. I even had one of my subscribers comment and say they voted for, I believe, Obama, because they did not want to be called a racist. This is a white individual. And I'm sick and tired of white people feeling guilted into the fact that they got to do something like vote for a particular person of color, a black person or a woman, because if they don't do it, the left is going to holler racist, misogynist. If they got to guilt you into doing something, then something is wrong. It should be based on merit and merit alone. But that's how they roll. They've been doing it for the past few election cycles. You notice that a person of color or a female will be somewhere on that ticket. And if you don't go along with it, they yell out the usual. They do their usual antics. This time it didn't work. And I got to say something. Kamala Harris is incompetent. And people saw through it. And then they looked around at their actual lives. You know, we can't just read a report in stats like the women on The View. Say, well, the stats say this. My real life say something else. Bump your stats.
Before I called out Biden, he was calling Biden Sleepy Joe. What's percolating on social media today? Just go and look at it, y'all. Joe Biden is caught napping at an African summit in Angola for at least a full minute. They didn't say whether he was snoring or not. That's about all that was missing. But he was clearly asleep. I'm not going to pardon my son. I want to state for the record, I have no problem with him pardoning Hunter Biden. I had a problem with him trying to act like it was unjust what was being done in pursuit of getting after my son because they wanted to get to me. All you had to say was, I'm pardoning my son because he's my son. You couldn't just say that, though. You know why you couldn't say that, President Biden? Because you had been telling us it was the last thing that you were going to do. And why did you say that? Why did Karine Jean-Pierre, remember how she said he will absolutely not pardon his son? It's all over social media right now. They kept saying it. It's everywhere. How many times did the Democrats tell us no one's above the law? No one's above the law. No one's above the law. Nancy Pelosi, Hakeem Jeffries, Elizabeth Warren, who makes you feel like your soul is going to hell if you don't agree with her. Inconsistency after inconsistency after inconsistency. We can argue policies. We can argue politics all day long. But the Democrats worked really, really diligently to make the case that the right had a monopoly on insidious, evil tendencies.
You know, that's how they work on the Democrat side. They do that. They have a tendency to blame the other side for the very thing that they're doing. And that's because they don't really have any policies that actually benefit the American people. If you look at it, the inflation, the border, and all the chaos going on in blue-led cities, they don't have anything that works. So what they have to do is make the other side look even worse. Make them look so evil that you'll put up with their mess. And they got some sure enough stinky stuff mess. You need some strong spray to stop smelling that mess. Because I am so sick and tired of the people that get on these networks like your CNNs and your BSNBCs and spew hatred and rhetoric and spew out lies. And they still have not learned that we're not buying what they're selling. We're not buying it. It was spoken loud and clear November 5th. Donald Trump won the popular vote. It's not typical that a Republican wins the popular vote. And you know why? Because he made inroads into places like New York and New Jersey and even Illinois and California, even though Kamala eventually did win those states, but he had gotten into a chunk of that electorate. He did. He got a lot more votes than normal. And that is why he won the popular vote. Not to mention all 7 swing states. Oh, her goose was cooked. Goose was cooked.
Corrupt tendencies, duplicitous, hypocritical, untruthful tendencies. And every time they made those accusations, we turn around and find out that at least some of them are guilty of the same shit. I don't know about y'all, but I'm sick of all of it. I'm sick of all of it. They've actually made Donald Trump look like he was right instead of them. Mm-hmm. Think about that. Mm-hmm. He didn't just get to raise his fist on election night as a victor. He's been raising it every night ever since for one different issue after another that he keeps winning because he keeps highlighting what they lied about. Mm-hmm. I'm sick of it.
You know, I'm sick of it as well. I've been sick of it because this is the party that has really did the okie doke on the American people, especially Black folks. They've been doing the okie doke on us, played us like a fiddle, played us like a complete and utter idiot. And when you try to explain something as a conservative African American to your other Black brothers and sisters, they act like, and then even some leftists of other ethnicities, they'll just look at you like you're crazy. Like, why are you doing that? You supposed to vote this way. I vote the way I see fit. Okay. I'm going to vote according to my Christian values. Which party is pro-religious freedom, pro-family, pro-America? That would be the MAGA Republicans. Now, I got to say, not all Republicans are equal because you've got some rhinos, Republican in name only, and these are just Democrats who are undercover, wolves in sheep's clothing, acting like they're Republicans, but they're doing the very work of the Democrats that they say or act like they oppose. That's why you've got your people like your Liz Cheney's and your Mitt Romney's. But, you know, speaking of Mitt Romney, he came out and said some things that we'll show later in this video. But we have to educate ourselves on what the truth is. Don't ever just go with the lies of the media because you will be misinformed. So let's check out this next clip. And this is Van Jones talking about Donald Trump's intelligence.
Figure out the mainstream media is the fringe and the fringe is now the mainstream. How the hell did Donald Trump figure out? I mean, Joe Rogan is obvious, right? Like, we knew the guy had a big audience. It's not like we were like stunned, but like, how the hell was he, the 78-year-old guy who doesn't even have a computer and still like writes handwritten notes? How did he become the guy who cracked the code on, to your point, running a cultural, I don't even want to say campaign, running
it was a movement.
Look, heading a cultural movement versus a campaign.
Every one of your people knows Elon. Listen. Yeah. So everybody keeps, I mean, the problem is you have a framework in your mind that how can Donald Trump? Guys, can we cut it out? Donald Trump is not an idiot. Donald Trump, let me just be very clear. Donald Trump is smarter than me, you, and all critics. You know why we know? Because he has the White House, the Senate, the House.
Totally agree.
The popular vote. He has a massive media ecosystem bigger than the mainstream built around him and for him, and a religious fervor in a political movement around him. And his best buddy is the richest person in the history of the world, and the most relevant Kennedy is with him. This dude is a phenomenon. He is the most powerful human on earth and in our lifetime. And we're still saying, well, how was this guy? We look like idiots.
Donald Trump all this credit and praise like that. The reason I say that because we have to be careful of idolatry believers. Those of you who are Christian who are probably watching this video, be careful of that because we want to focus on God. God uses people. That's just how he works. We want to put focus on the Lord, and God uses people. So God could even be using me right now. So I believe God is just using Donald Trump, and he has God on his side. So because for whatever reason, God chose Trump for whatever reason, and Trump is a political outsider willing to do the right thing for the American people. So the evil powers that be have to demonize him, and because the deep state doesn't mean us any good. So I'm just saying they got to make this man look horrible. We got to still keep praying because we want the right thing to go forth. We want the right thing to happen. We want the right thing overall. We want the right thing for this country. I know I do. Let's check out another one. Mentioned to you about Mitt Romney. Well, here is Mitt Romney on Communist News Network talking about the MAGA Republican Party and Donald Trump being over it.
You said in an interview a few months ago that, quote, there's a good chance that the Republican Party is going to need to be rebuilt or reoriented, and that you want to have a voice in the post-Trump Republican Party. Do you think that do you still think there's going to be a post-Trump Republican Party, or is MAGA now the Republican Party?
Oh, MAGA is the Republican Party, and Donald Trump is the Republican Party today. And if you were to ask me who the nominee will be in 2028, I think it'll be J.D. Vance. All right. He's smart, well-spoken, part of the MAGA movement.
You said something pretty harsh about him a few months ago, though. You could not have less respect for somebody than J.D.
Long ago. I'm not going to rehash history, and we've worked together in the Senate since then. But I that is what the Republican Party is. And will the party need to change? Look, the Republican Party has become the party of the working class, middle class voter, and you've got to give Donald Trump credit for having done that. Taken that away from the Democrats. Democrats pushed him out. All right. The Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren faction of the Democrat Party with some of this, defund the police and transgenders in, or excuse me, biological males in women's sports. These things had a lot of people in the middle class just flee the Democratic Party. They're now Republicans. Now, one of the challenges in my party is that our policies do not necessarily line up with the interests of our voters. And so there'll be some reorientation that's going to be necessary in my party. The Democrat Party is the one in trouble. I mean, I don't know how they recover. And I'm not going to tell them what to do because I would begin to have the capacity to do so. But they've lost their base. Union guys and gals have left the Democratic Party and are voting Republican.
And something he said that's very interesting. He said he's not going to tell the Democratic Party what to do. He's got the ability to do so. Why would you even consider telling them what to do when you're a Republican? See, I don't know about that Mitt Romney stuff. Something about that comment just bothered me and just rubbed me the wrong way. But I don't think the Democratic Party is going to learn from their mistakes. I just simply don't. And I want to also mention that I don't want the Republican Party he said something about there are some things that need to be realigned in the Republican Party because that doesn't appeal to some people. My opinion is that the Republican Party not go pro-abortion. I don't know if that's what Mitt Romney meant. I don't know exactly what he meant about the Republican Party needs to realign on some things. They should not go pro-abortion. You will lose some of your evangelical base. You will lose me and people who think like me. We are pro-life. A lot of us in the Christian evangelical world, not just who say we're Christian, but really hold to those fundamental beliefs of the Christian faith, you would lose us. So don't do that. And I'm not saying that's what he meant. I'm just putting that out there. Because I thought about Melania Trump saying what she said about abortion. So I'm like, oh, why is she saying this now right before the election? I don't know. That rubbed me the wrong way as well. But at the same instance, be more pro-family, more pro-life, more the regular guy, the regular man and woman who's just trying to make ends meet. still continue down that vein, being pro-school choice, pro-America, America first, common sense things like keeping only biological people who are biologically the same in sports. Don't do any, you just keep going like you're going. Okay. Don't do any of that crazy stuff. Just keep it nuclear family. That's just my advice to the Republican Party. But also I want to mention about Donald Trump had a live today, and he was talking about the border wall. The border wall, Joe Biden took the border wall down and is like selling it for pennies on the dollar. I mean, literally. And it's going to cost even more money to get that wall, those pieces back, and to put the wall back up. Talk about really a slap in the face to security. This is what Joe Biden did. He took down the border wall that had already been put up, and now it's going to cost even more money to get that stuff back and put it up. Trying to hurt the movement of protecting Americans. This is why they're not even trying to leave. They're not even trying to leave on a good note. The current administration is intentionally being destructive. I cannot stand this party. This party is evil. They are destructive. They are so anti-American, anti-God, psychopaths, lunatics, anti-Christian bigots. These people are perverts, a cabal of evil. That's what I'm saying that they are. You guys can think how you want to think. But yeah, that's what I wanted to show you all today, because we got to get together, Americans, as one people, as one group of people, one God, one nation under God, one nation under God, united against evil. Thank you all so much. Don't forget to smash that like button, comment, share, subscribe to my channel. I am also premiering a new show tomorrow, December 17th at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is called The Linda B Show. It is not a political show. We're talking culture, religion. Of course, I try to put my Christian input in there. I will have guests on this show. You all be blessed. Love God, your families, the United States of America, and march on, warriors.